There were many shocks that I experienced when I entered my freshman year in high school, such as hazing, really tough teachers, going from classroom to classroom, and the girls who were really pretty well grown up. But the one trauma that troubled me the most was being graded on the curve. The first time I fell 1/2 point below the range on the curve for an A, when 92% had always been an A in the past, it was devastating. No matter how hard I tried to convince the teacher that I had made a careless mistake and that I really knew how to solve that equation, he wouldn't budge. The B+ was permanent. Understanding how grading on the curve worked all of a sudden made me have very different feelings about my classmates. It was them against me, pure and simple. Dog eat dog. I was in competition with them. It was a cruel way the teachers could play us against each other. It made me very angry and distrustful of the educational system. The next time I read D&C section 76 and pondered the degrees of glory, I had a very different perspective on how the rules would be applied to those who receive a telestial glory. The ones who are honorable men but are blinded by the craftiness of men, who receive of his glory but not of his fullness. The terrestrial is next up and exceeds the glory of the celestial, and the celestial is where God dwells. Those in each kingdom would condescend to come down to minister to the ones below. Suddenly, I saw myself as one who had missed the cutoff by 1/2 point and would end up stuck in a lower degree of glory because of a careless mistake. Section 76 offered no recourse for me to plead my case. It was telestial for most of us, celestial for the ones who figured out how to take tests, and terrestrial for everyone in between. The 76th section was nothing but doom and gloom, especially at the end where it says if you don't make it to the highest degree where God and Christ dwell, you cannot come to their worlds without end. What kind of loving God could come up with stuff like that? Some years later, as I was preparing a lesson for Sunday school in England, I was reading section 19 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Starting at verse 4, it states, "And surely every man must repent or suffer, for I, God, am endless. Wherefore I revoke not the judgments which I shall pass, but woes shall go forth, weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth, yea, to those who are found on my left hand. Nevertheless, it is not written that there shall be no end to torment. But it is written endless torment. Again, it is written eternal damnation. Wherefore it is more expressed than other scriptures, that it might work upon the hearts of the children of men, altogether for my name's glory." Wait a minute, I thought. How can torment be endless, but not have an end? But not have no end? What kind of double talk is this? It is, and it goes on, it is written as eternal damnation, that it might work on the hearts of men. And I thought, why had I missed all this before? It goes on to say, "Behold the mysteries of godliness, for I am endless, and the punishment which is given from my hand is endless punishment. For endless is my name." I still remember that very moment when these scriptures were churning in my mind, and I struggled to make sense out of them. A footnote at the bottom for verse 6 referred me to section 138, verse 59. Section 138, Joseph F. Smith's vision of the spirit world, wasn't part of the D&C when I was in high school. In fact, it had only been added just recently. It was a nice story with some interesting points, but I suppose the ending had not yet captured my interest. Starting in verse 58, it says, "The dead who repent will be redeemed through obedience to the ordinances of the house of God, and after they have paid the penalty for their transgressions and are washed clean, shall receive a reward according to their works, for they are heirs of salvation." This I believe, that D&C 19, combined with this closing verse in section 138, is the cornerstone of the mysteries of godliness. I believe that God's punishment is eternal, even endless, because the penalty for each unrepented sin will never change. An unrepented transgression today evokes the same penalty that existed in Adam's day, exists for me today, and will exist right up until the last person is resurrected. But it is not written that there shall be no end to the torment we will surely be given. Once we have paid the prescribed penalty, we shall be rewarded according to our works and be heirs of salvation. In my mind, nothing else in all the writings of the gospel is as powerful and profound as this single principle. And I don't worry anymore about being eternally 1/2 point below the cutoff.